Okay guys, so in the first example we calculated the compound interest based on the flowchart with the deposit, the rate, the number of years, and we got the resulting balance. And we did it by using this first tab. So we were able to put in values here on the worksheet and then click the calculate button and get the resulting balance actually on the Excel worksheet. So in this example, we're going to look at the second tab, so interest with input boxes. And so we're going to calculate compound interest again, but we're not going to use the cells on the sheet. We're going to ask for user input using what are called input boxes. And when we print out the balance, we're going to do so in what's called a message box. So there are different scenarios where you'd want to use either one. In this case, we're going to use the prompts. So if you go back to your editor for VBA, we're now in the interest boxes sub. Okay, so we're going to follow the flowchart again, and the first thing we're going to do is declare the variables. So we're actually going to do the exact same thing that we did in the first example, just declare all of these variables, so set them up, but not actually put any values in them. So what I'm going to do is actually copy the variable declarations that I have from the interest range one and put them just right here in the interest boxes one. So I've got D as currency, R as single, N as integer, and B as currency. So I haven't put any values inside them yet. I have just made space and indicated the variable type. So now instead of getting the values off of the sheet, we're going to prompt the user with what are called input boxes to put in the values. So in order to do this, we're going to say D equals, so we want to assign a value to the deposit, and we're going to say input box, and then in parentheses we're going to have the following parameters. So you see we have various parameters that it suggests. We're going to use the first two, so the prompt that you want to see, and then have a title for the box. So in quotations we're going to write enter the deposit. So that's what the prompt is going to say when it appears. So enter the deposit. We'll put a colon and a space in there as well. Comma. And now you see when I put the comma in, the second parameter gets highlighted. So let's give it a title. So in quotes again, we'll call this deposit. So that'll be the title that you see actually on the input box. I'm going to go ahead and close the parentheses. And now, before we go any further, just to see how this works, we'll run it. So I'm going to hit the run sub button, and you can see that an input box actually pops up and the prompt matches. So enter the deposit, that goes here, and then the title matches, so deposit goes in the title. So here, enter the deposit, we can say something like 1,000. You can hit enter or hit OK, and of course nothing happens because we didn't actually program anything else. So what we're going to do is the same thing for the rate and the years. So we'll say R equals input box, enter the rate. This time I'm going to leave a space and then put rate as the title of the box. And then finally N equals input box. We'll say enter the number of years, colon space, and to give this a title of years. Okay, so now when you run it, it'll prompt for the deposit, the rate, and the number of years. So if you want to check that, let's just run it. So enter the deposit, say 1,000, enter the rate 0.2, so rather 0.02. Number of years, we'll say 2. And of course, nothing happens. Something to be aware of, if you run it and you put in, so that it's looking for currency, if we put in a word, say we put in like H or something, you'll see that when you hit enter, you get a runtime error, and it says type mismatch. This might happen to you if you are just running through and you type in something that doesn't match the variable type, like we put in what would be a string for the currency variable. Or it might happen if, by accident, if you accidentally thought you were having a certain variable type and you didn't. So just be aware of that. If you get this type mismatch error, that's what's going on. You can just hit OK and then try to fix it or run it again. Okay, so at this point we are here. We've just taken the inputs and now we're ready to run the process to calculate the balance. So we'll do it the same exact way as we did in the other example. I'll type it out this time. So balance B equals D times the quantity 1 plus R to the power of N, and hit enter. So now the balance will get calculated, and but it does us no good just yet because we need to actually get it printed out. We need to do this last part, so print B. So instead of sending it to the Excel sheet, what we're going to do is send out what's called a message box. Okay, so here what we're going to do is simply type MSG box. So MSG BOX with a capital M and a capital B. And inside what we're going to do is a couple things. So first of all, notice that you can just put in something like B, so message box B. And what this will do, if we run it, enter the deposit, let's say 1000, enter the rate 0.02, enter the number of years, 2. When I hit enter, it's going to just show a box with no title or any other text in it, and it'll just have the value. So it's not even formatted as currency. So we're going to do one better. We're actually going to put in a message that says balance so that we have that. So let's hit OK. That will stop running it. So back in the message box, what we're going to do is the following. We're going to put in quotes the word balance, and then instead of using a plus sign to kind of concatenate them is the technical term, we're going to use the and symbol, so the ampersand. So if we do something like balance, make sure that it's completely enclosed in the quotes, then we use the ampersand and then the variable. What it will do is it will actually shove them together. So it'll say balance and then the actual balance value. So let's run this one more time to see that in action. So enter the deposit, 1000, enter the rate, 0.02, enter the number of years, we'll say 2, and now we get a box that says balance 1040.4.